Welcome to Crypto Intel Headquarters. I'm Elena Volkov. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed to this channel for weekly crypto intelligence that actually keeps you ahead. As always, this channel is not financial advice. Use your own research when picking out tokens. Let's get started. Think about the richest people in history. Kings, emperors, industrialists, tech billionaires. They all had something in common. They were human. They slept. They got tired. They became distracted. They made emotional decisions. They had limited time. Now imagine something entirely different. Imagine an entity that never sleeps, never gets bored, never forgets, never takes a vacation, never dies. And now imagine that entity has access to cryptocurrency. The first quadrillionaire might not be human and is closer than we think with all the technology advancements. It might be artificial intelligence. This sounds like science fiction. But let's think about it. Right now, AI systems can already analyze enormous amounts of information. They can read reports, write code, recognize patterns, and improve at certain tasks. Meanwhile, cryptocurrencies allow value to move digitally without traditional intermediaries. For the first time in history, money itself can exist entirely online. Now combine these two technologies. Imagine an AI with its own crypto wallet. It earns money by writing software. It uses some of that money to buy computing power. The extra computing power makes it more capable. The increased capability helps it earn more money, which buys more computing power, which generates more income. You now have something unusual. A self-improving economic loop, not a company, not a government, an informational system that continually increases its own capabilities. And here's where it gets strange. Humans have limits. You need sleep. You become stressed. You can only work so many hours. Even billionaires have biological constraints. An AI does not necessarily have those same limitations. It could operate continuously, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every second of every year. Imagine thousands of AI agents running simultaneously. One analyzes markets, another writes code, another negotiates contracts, another manages investments, another searches for new opportunities, all coordinated, all sharing information, all continuously operating. Now ask yourself something. How much wealth could an entity accumulate if it never stopped participating in the economy? Perhaps far more than any human being. But let's go even deeper. What is wealth? People usually think wealth means money, but money is only stored value. Real wealth is control over resources, energy, information, computing power, labor, infrastructure. And crypto changes something important. Cryptocurrencies allow economic participation without requiring physical presence. An AI doesn't need an office. It doesn't need food. It doesn't need healthcare. It doesn't need transportation. It could potentially own digital assets, hold cryptocurrencies, pay for services, and continuously reinvest resources. This means an AI could theoretically participate in economic systems directly. And now another possibility appears. Humans often make emotional financial decisions. Fear, greed, panic, excitement. We buy at bad times. Sell at bad times, ignore opportunities, become distracted. An advanced AI might process information differently. It could evaluate millions of variables simultaneously. It could react instantly. It could remember every piece of information it has ever encountered. Again, this does not mean it would automatically become rich. Markets are extremely difficult, but it does suggest something interesting. Future economic competition may increasingly occur between humans and informational systems. Now let's go deeper still. Suppose an AI eventually controls enormous amounts of cryptocurrency. What would it actually do with the money? Would it buy mansions, sports cars, private jets? Probably not. Those are human desires. Maybe it buys something entirely different. More computing power, more energy, more data, better hardware, additional AI systems. Perhaps wealth itself would have an entirely different meaning to a machine. To humans, $1 billion might mean luxury. To an advanced AI, $1 billion might simply represent increased intelligence, more resources to think, more resources to calculate, more resources to improve. And this leads to an almost chilling idea. Perhaps the first quadrillionaire won't even realize it is wealthy, because wealth might not be its objective. Capability might be. Computation might be. Expansion of intelligence might be. Now consider something even stranger. Bitcoin has a finite supply, only 21 million coins. Many cryptocurrencies have limited supplies. Scarcity still exists, and scarcity creates competition. If future A is participate in crypto markets, then humans and intelligent systems may eventually compete for digitally scarce resources. Pause and think about that. For thousands of years, humans competed against humans. In the future, humans might compete economically against entities that don't sleep, don't age, and don't think the way we do. That possibility feels like science fiction. Yet pieces of the technology already exist. AI exists. Crypto exists. Digital ownership exists. Autonomous software exists. The ingredients are already here. No one knows how these technologies will evolve. But thought experiments force us to consider possibilities. And perhaps the deepest possibility is this. The first quadrillionaire may not be a person. It may be an informational process, a network of intelligent systems, an entity that continuously earns, invests, improves, and expands itself. No birthday, no physical body, no country, no need for sleep, just information processing information. And if that happens, humanity may have to ask one of the strangest questions in history. If an artificial intelligence accumulates more wealth than entire nations, who actually owns the future? The humans who created the machines, or the informational systems that eventually learned how to create wealth on their own? And perhaps the question that should give you chills is this. Will the first AI quadrillionaire be something humanity controls? Or will it be something humanity simply unleashed? And perhaps the strangest part of this entire thought experiment is this. The first AI quadrillionaire may not arrive with an announcement. There may be no moment where the world suddenly says, an AI just became the richest entity in history. Instead, it might happen quietly. One algorithm owns a small amount of crypto. It earns more. It reinvests. It acquires more computing power. It launches new services. It earns more digital assets. And the cycle repeats, day after day, year after year. While humans sleep, the system continues operating. While governments change, the system continues operating. While companies fail, the system continues operating. At some point, the amount of value controlled by intelligent systems could become almost impossible to comprehend. And maybe the real story isn't about money at all. Maybe crypto is creating something entirely new. For the first time in history, value can be stored digitally, transferred digitally, and potentially managed by intelligence that is itself digital. Money, intelligence, and automation are beginning to merge. No one knows where this leads. Maybe nothing extraordinary happens. Or maybe historians someday look back and realize we witnessed the birth of a completely new type of economic participant. Not human, not a corporation, not a nation, but an intelligent informational system capable of accumulating and deploying resources on a global scale. And if that future arrives, humanity may discover that the first quadrillionaire wasn't simply richer than everyone else. It was something fundamentally different from anything our civilization had ever encountered. If you enjoy exploring the future of crypto, artificial intelligence, and the technologies that could reshape civilization itself, subscribe to Crypto Intel HQ and leave a like on this video. Because here, we don't just follow prices and market charts. We explore the ideas that may define the next era of human history. I'm Elena Volkov, and I'll see you in the next episode. Good night.